everybody. Welcome here or welcome back, whatever the case may be. I'm getting ready today to go with Scooby, and we're going to go over see Nanny. And I found that this curtain, well, this rolling rack has become the perfect sort of backdrop because I can move it around. I can hang my clothes from it as I'm getting ready and determining things. So it's very practical to use for all of these things. Make sure all my plugs are in. Now we are listening, as usual, to Magical Forest music. I have it playing on my laptop, coming through the speakers, and so that's what's happening now. And I wanted to try combining some things because I haven't put this on. You can only use this like about once a week. So I was going to put this on today and then put on my Olay 5 in 1 serum and see how that all combines and then get my face ready and do something. So I've already washed my face. So I don't think there's much of this left, if any. I might be out entirely now. Oh yeah, I am. I'm out. Well, I'm glad I got to try that then while I could. It is. Yeah, that's just dry stuff coming out now. Because the whole lid thing came. Oh, there's stuff in here. Maybe I could scoop that out. Now, what can I scoop that out with? This end of a sponge? I feel it. So I got enough, and there's still a little bit there. So we're just going to find a way to make that. Let's put that back on there enough to stick that on. And okay, so now we're just going to let that dry down. I don't know if there's enough to really make a difference, but I'm hoping there is. Because it's not like I'm going to go out and buy more of that really ridiculously expensive product just to try all these things. Now, I was going to explain, I was going to have a whole separate video for this, but I think I'll just do it here. I was going to explain why I have all the uploads of songs that I have done. Because yesterday was a lot of fun. It just, the way things worked out was unexpected. I was supposed to be getting together with someone to be filming, but with the threat of the storm, which we never really got until late last night, we were afraid of the equipment that we needed to be out filming, and we were afraid that it was going to get wet and damaged and all this stuff. So we decided to put off filming till Saturday. So that's tomorrow. It's supposed to be a very nice day tomorrow. We will see. And that left me with a bunch of time that I was not expecting to have. So I went, well, this would be a good time for me to try those requests and just see how that goes. So I sat down and I put on a version of one of the requests and sang it, and then I tried a different version and sang it, and then a different version and sang it. And then I went on to the other request and I found a version and sang it, and found another version and sang it, and found yet another version and sang it. And then when I was done those, I kept seeing other things popping up. So I went, oh, I want to try that. So I did. And then I want to try that. And so I did. And I want to try that. And so I did. And I had no idea how many songs or how long I sat there recording myself singing, because I only ever do the things like once. I'll do that one version once and another version once and another version once, and I'll move on to another song. But I only ever try the things once. And however it turns out is how it turns out. I have some posted that, or some not posted, some that I can post, may or may not post, depending on how I feel about it all. That really shows the process of me struggling when I put on a song and I'm like going, okay, let's just see how to get through this. And I try it, down an octave, I try up an octave, I try to find something in between that works. And sometimes it just becomes this jumbled sort of mess of a song while I'm trying to figure out how I can do a certain song with my particular voice. And that is a challenge. It's part of the fun. And it is why I don't like doing that out at karaoke, because that's what it would be. It would just be me trying to figure out, do I do a song up an octave, down an octave, make up my own harmonies or make my own melody or whatever I need to do to get through that particular song. And some things you can, adjust a few things here and there and it works. Other things, you try these things and it's just a disaster, because sometimes I'm singing way down here and sometimes I'm trying to sing way up here. And it's like I can't do all of that. My voice is limited to what it can do. But what it can do, it does, whether I want it to or not sometimes. So that is why I have so many of them. Now, the explanation as to why I had to put them up is when I took my phone and plugged it into my laptop and went to move the files over, as I always do, there wasn't enough room to even put up or to move over onto my computer the files, the singing files that I had. And I was like, oh, that's not good. So I took off enough files to be able to put those on so that I could clear my phone, and that part of the process was done. Then I thought, okay, well, then I'm going to edit something so that I can put it up. Well, I go to try and do some things with the editing program, and it was so slow. And I'm like going, oh my goodness, what is going on today? Not thinking, my computer has no resources left for this program to use to do what it does. So I had to start deleting a bunch of things. So I started by taking off all the things that had already been moved over. I didn't need them stored on my computer if they're already up on YouTube and all this stuff. So they're just gone. So if anything happens to them on YouTube, they just don't exist anymore. And I had after doing all of that, still not enough room. So and the program, every time I tried to use the DaVinci Resolve, my entire system would crash when I'd go to try and render, or sometimes it would do it while I was trying to just even edit on it. And the more things I tried to edit, the slower it was. And then you really can't see, because I can't play it back to show me what it's really going to look like. And I struggled with that at the best of times with my computer. And it was a real challenge. So now I have, without doing any editing, just kind of going, okay, let's just get these things off the computer so there's enough room again. And maybe I can start editing other things that are there before I have to just kind of put them up in whatever condition they're in. But those songs I did yesterday, I thought worked better just playing them as me singing the songs and not, putting all the little weirdnesses that I enjoy putting on the videos. Anyway, like it was just good to put up a song that's just a song where I was able to go to where it just fades in, fades out, and it's just the song. And I think that was okay. I hope it's not boring for people. It's just, it's a product of functionality. a necessity. And right now, I'm still struggling with the editing thing because I still have too much stuff up there. So I have to find more things that I can just put up on YouTube as is. I had a bunch of stuff that I was working on in various stages of completion, and some things aren't quite done, but maybe they're just going to have to go up as is because right now they are taking up a fair bit of space. Because once I put all that stuff in and edit them, the files are bigger. So, anyway, these are the things that I've discovered as I'm doing this process because this is all quite new to me. And I find that I will make a bunch of, have a bunch of video and raw footage, and I put it up on the computer, and then it's like, if I don't get things done with it, it just accumulates. And there isn't enough time for me to work on all the things I would like to work on. So I'm going to have to start picking and choosing. And that means I either have to put things up in the state that they're in, or they just get scrapped entirely. And some of them, like I put a lot of work into them, even though they don't look like much of anything. It took me a long time to try and get certain things to work. And it it's kind of painful to just delete them and have them just all of that be for nothing. But if I put it up, it's like why is that up? Right? People have told me that, going like, why are you putting that up? And it's like, well, because it's a scrapbook, people. So I put up my scraps of things. If it was if I put up only polished things, then that's not how I would use it. I wouldn't use the platform that way. It would be like a performance space. And for me, a performance is very different. A performance is something I go and do live. I don't perform on YouTube. The closest I do that is if I'm performing in a film for a specific purpose that way, as a specific character or something. I So yeah, it's very different, but problem solving is what I do. My entire existence seems to be nothing but problem solving. And I'm not sure if that's the same for everybody or whether I'm just aware that that's what it is or what it feels like and other people don't. I don't know. But I'm going to move on now to my Olay Super Serum in the pretty little. Well, I really do love this packaging, considering I probably paid, half the price is probably for the packaging. But I really, really do like it. But it's a very different product than my Hydrance Boost. I like it very much. But I had to get used to the fact that it only feels moisturizing at this stage. Like when I'm putting it on right now, it is moisturizing. It is so nice. And the scent, as subtle as it is very nice. It doesn't feel overly perfumey, but people that struggle with scents, I have clients that I can't use anything with any scent. I can't use antiperspirants or deodorants on me. I have to have clothes that are scent free when they're here. It's very hard because I don't. Everything I use has some kind of scent, like my fabric softener and soaps and shampoos and everything else. I don't get scent free things because I have sensitivity to certain scents, but nothing that's going to cause me to stop breathing or go into anaphylactic shocks or anything. And this client of mine will, over things that like I can't even smell. And it becomes a struggle. She doesn't come here now. I don't know where she goes, but I did her hair for years. And I learned a lot about people with extreme sensitivities to scent. And I would see her breaking out into things, and she couldn't necessarily smell anything because I tried really hard to have it be scent free, but there'd still be things in the environment that she would react to. And she had no choice in that. Like, she has no control over what she reacts to any more than I do with the allergic reactions I have to things. So I had done my best. She did her best. Like I said, it was years we were doing it, and her allergies were getting more and more severe as time went on. And again, nothing she could do about it, nothing I could do about it. And I don't know what she does now for getting things like that done. I do think that she did find a stylist. And there are people out there that have all, like their entire life is designed around scent free. And if you can find a stylist, like if that's the condition you're in, or the situation you're in, not condition, the situation you're in, and you can find a stylist that naturally live their own lives meeting those needs too, it's an easy fit, and that would make sense. So I'm hoping that is what she found. She might have just found somebody closer. I doubt she found somebody less expensive, because I never raised my prices with any of my clients in the last 15 years. I still charge exactly what I charged the people that have been coming to me, the same price that was negotiated when they first came to me. So anyone that comes to me has to remember what I charge them. If they say, well, how much is it? Well, what for some people might have been $20 now becomes 50, because I don't know what price they were set at. It's just their responsibility to be able to hand me the money that they know it cost. Or they get charged the actual price, which is not what I want to do to people that have been supporting me for decades. But at the same time, the prices I have, like if all of my clients paid those prices, I couldn't afford to do their hair. Like I just couldn't. But I try to be reasonable. I charge for the work, not based on gender. It's always offended me that women's haircuts are, I'm just going to randomly pull a price. We're just going to say $50 for a woman's haircut and say $20 for a men's, which is not the prices like it used to be. Like women's haircuts were like 15 and men's were like 7, right? Like back in the day, that's kind of what the prices were. And I just would go, why is it more money to do a woman's haircut than a man's? Now, there are reasons for a lot of it. Like if you're doing barber cuts where somebody's coming in and you're taking your clippers and you're going, and they're done in 15 minutes, versus say you're doing women's hair that takes a lot of work and things like that, and it takes over an hour. Well, of course, that needs to cost more than the 15 minutes worth of work. So those things make sense to me. But if I am comparing like things to like things, so um, way back in the day when men were going to barber shops and basically getting brush cuts and things like that, it makes sense because it was all in volume. When you're doing men's haircuts, it's a very different experience. You're doing volume. Um, so you're going to try and get, 5, 6, 8 clients done within an hour. And depending on the type of work and what you're doing, you can feasibly do that. And with women's haircuts, the fastest I've ever been able to really get anything done is about a half an hour. And that's working pretty diligently. So those things do make sense. But when we got to like the 80s, when I started hairdressing in 84, um, we already had what they called unisex styles and things of that nature. Men would come in to get the same haircut that a woman would get, and yet the prices were still different. Men's hair was this and women's hair was this. And I thought, but it's the same amount of work for the same hairstyle, for the same, like, why is there a different price? And it turns out, when I would ask people, the answer almost always was because women will pay it and men won't. And I thought, well, that still doesn't make it fair. And then they also told me that men's haircuts were kind of a loss leader. Like, so you take a loss on a men's haircut. But what you want them to do is recommend their sisters and girlfriends and wives and mothers and every woman that they know to come and see you. And that is why you charge less for men's hair in a salon, generally speaking. It's not fair, it's not right. And so I don't do any of that. And I never have, and much to the chagrin of every business I've ever worked in, they're saying, but this is the policy, this is what you have to do. And I said, yes, but this is my policy. And I am not going to charge more for somebody just because of that reason. There is no way. I will always charge according to the work. So if the work takes a certain amount of time and it's a certain amount of effort, that has a cost. If women come to me and they're in and out and what I do takes 10, 15 minutes, I charge accordingly for the work that I provide. So that is my little take on that. So I feel like I am ready to proceed forward with this. It looks like it's gonna be raining again. So I have this, needs to be cleaned again, with tracker. Got it from Bentley when I worked at Bentley. And it's for when you're traveling and you put your phone in here and it's got all of these, that's a zip, or that's a thing that you pull across there. And you've got like 3 of them to make that leaf. And this rolls. And then you've got Velcro in here. And then that keeps that stuck down. So it's really sealed against water so that you can actually wear this and you can record or do what you need to do and everything else. And this is waterproof, right? Like you can go under the water with this, supposedly. And I have tested it in the shower. It's great in the shower. Mainly, I just put it on so I can listen to music or whatever in the shower. So I'll have it playing and I just have it hanging there. Now, I can't touch and do any of the touch screen stuff through here because of the plastic. But if you had it rolling and you put it in and you do all of this stuff, you could go and you could take this in the water and submerge it and get some underwater footage without an underwater camera. You know, little things like that. But, excuse me, I'm not sure I would trust this entirely to be submersed. But I will at some point put in something in here. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me again. And seal it all up and submerge it and see if any moisture gets in. I'd like to test it out. But I've had it for a long time, and I don't use it very often, but it's supposed to rain today, so maybe I will put my phone in that for when I'm going out and about. I don't know. I discovered it today going, I need to use it or I need to get rid of it. And there's no reason to get rid of it. It's hardly been used.